I think what's been beautiful about the thousands of Jews who have joined pro-Palestine marches in London and all over the world since October the 7th has been the rediscovery of our finest traditions. We are in fact deeply proud of our Jewishness, our Judaism, and we want to claim our Jewish traditions from those who desecrate them by associating them with colonialism and genocide. Jewish traditions of social justice are as old as Judaism itself. Tikkun olam, mending the world, is a Jewish virtue, a religious Jewish virtue. And our religious Jewish heroes are so often people who stood up to oppressors, right from Moses, our great prophets, Isaiah, who came to condemn the Jewish people of his time for fasting on holy days, but fasting emptily, Isaiah said, because they weren't feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, letting the oppressed and the prisoners go free. Amos, Elijah. Our Jewish prophetic religious tradition is so deeply and thoroughly about social justice. We want to insist that the project of Zionism is in fact the project of trying to cast off Jewishness. We want nothing to do with that. And the exciting thing is that in centers of Jewish life all over the world, we are reviving older and more noble Jewish traditions of equality and human freedom. Zionism put Jews in Palestine, and there is today nowhere in the world that Jews are less safe than in Palestine. And today, all over the world, Jews are less safe because of the Zionist state's consistent, insistent efforts to identify its violence with world Jewry. The Zionist state constantly, whether in the use of our religious symbols, the Star of David, the menorah, and so on, whether in the use of our name, B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel is what we're called, and the Zionist state calls itself Israel, or in its constant claims that it represents Jews. So the Zionist insistence on identifying its violence with Jews everywhere puts Jews everywhere at risk, puts Jews everywhere at danger, and the figures on this are unambiguous, helps provoke a spiraling anti-Semitism all around the world. That's not to remove responsibility from the anti-Semites everywhere who carry out acts of violence against synagogues and cemeteries and attack Jews in the street, but it's clearly the case that Israeli violence helps to spur that. So the record of the Zionist project is as follows. It ethnically cleansed and dispossessed an indigenous population, which is not really a Jewish tradition, it's a Western Christian tradition that they took from people like Cecil Rhodes, the colonizer of Africa, to whom Theodore Herzl wrote an admiring letter. Zionism is part of the chapter really of European colonization, not of Jewish history. Zionist history is as follows. They destroyed an indigenous population in Palestine. They're still trying to destroy it. Those people are still resisting. They destroyed the Jewish communities of the Arab world. They produced a state in which Jews are less safe than anywhere else in the world, and they made Jews everywhere else in the world less safe. Zionism has failed on its own terms, as well as being an unacceptable colonizing project, even if it had succeeded.